Don't focus on what you can't control. Focus on what you can control because it's all his plan. And so if it's his plan, then everything gonna be okay. Everything gonna work out. Don't get caught up in trying to figure everything out yourself. Everything's gonna be okay. And I know you're thinking like, how? You know what I'm saying? It's not okay right now. It don't feel like it's gonna be okay. It seems like everything just crashing. It feel like I ain't gonna make it. It feel like I'm lost. Well, guess what? You right where God wants you to be. Because once you realize how in control he is, then you realize how you've been trying to step in his way. You've been trying to step in his way. And I know it hasn't been intentional. I know that you just been trying to figure things out. You just been trying to do it your way. And the problem with that is that you trying to figure it out. You're not allowing God to figure it out. You're not allowing God to help you. And that's the problem. And as you keep going, you got to realize that it's okay to allow him to help you with things in your life. That he is truly in control and that he is your strength. You've been trying to be strong and do things by yourself for so long, and it may be because of what you've been through in your life. It may be because you felt less than, you didn't have a family neglected you. All these different things, all these different trauma responses can cause you to do these things, or you just a control freak. People that you may be one that just like to critique everything, and everything got to be on point, everything got to look a certain way, and all that. There ain't nothing wrong with that. God loves order, but if he not the head of your order, then it's out of order. If that makes sense, I'm gonna say that again. If he not the head of your order or the lead of your order, then it's out of order. And when it's out of order, that means it's misplaced. That means if it's misplaced, then you got to get some balance. See, on this walk of life, period, you got to have balance. You can't be too high, can't be too low. You get too high, then you think that is all you. You get too low, then you get frustrated, and then you start to feel lost. Then you get to being anxious, and you start to just not be who God called you to be. And like I said, none of these things are intentional, but they just go to show you how easy and how far we get away from God unintentionally, but just trying to get to where we're trying to go and try to make things work ourselves without him. And that's not what God called us to be. This dog, he just doing his job. But God got a special plan for your life, and the closer you get to him, the more he will show up, the more he will reveal. His grace is sufficient. That's why you here able to watch his video, because of his grace. None of us deserve his grace. None of us deserve the blessings of God. None of us deserve nothing. But because of his grace, he said he gave his only begotten son. He gave. So just think about that for a second. Really just let that marinate in and really get into your heart that he gave his only begotten son. Now let's just be real. If you have children, we are willing to die for our children to keep them safe or to make sure they have the best life or whatever it is. We willing to die. We willing to, do whatever for our children. But God said he gave his only begotten son. If that's not love, I don't know what is, because that's that's big. And the fact that he gave, that's a blessing in itself. That's a blessing in itself. And so we got to be more grateful and show God gratitude, you know, and just relax, you know. Speak peace over your life. You ain't got to find peace. All you got to do is choose it. Each day you wake up, choose peace. Choose peace. Don't choose anxiety. Don't choose anxiousness. Don't choose, you know, the things that gonna take you away from God. Choose peace, because peace of God surpasses all understanding. And when you get that in your heart, not just in your mind and your heart, your whole life gonna change. But you got to be bold, and you got to realize that everything gonna be okay. As hard as that sound, as crazy as that sound at times, you know how like when you going through some things that you just, even though you know God good, you still tend to be like, man, I just can't. Oh man, this shit don't feel right and everything like that. That's when you just need to let it go. That's when you need to let it go. You know, I've been there. You know, I mean, I literally, like, I kind of spoke about this yesterday because I had heard an example at church from the pastor and stuff like that. But you know, I had an experience like, man, found myself. I mean, I was stressed out. You know, I was thinking about things that was going on. You know, like for example, like, you know, the bills due. You know, we got to pay rent. This was a couple of years ago, man. I mean, uh, and man, I was just stressed out. I'm like, man, how we going? You know what I'm saying? I'm here, I'm there. Then we ain't had no food. I got my son. Man, that brought me to a place I ain't want to be mentally, and I'm starting to think about going back to the streets. I'm just being real, like, but the time that I'm thinking about, I'm like, if I go back to the streets, the rent due Monday. It's the weekend. What I'm finna, like, I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't from here. You know, it's gonna take me a little minute to get my feet wet. That's just gonna make me feel like I could do something. But in raw reality, I ain't gonna have it. So, you know, I'm talking about, I'm just up, I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying? I ain't getting no sleep. Like, I stayed up all night, just nerves bad, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, that week, a guy wanted to sit down and have breakfast with me, and, you know, I had met him at a church that we was going to when we first got here, and he, you know, he like, man, if you able to, I'm like, all right, man, I ain't, like, I went to Bible study that week before the weekend, and I ain't hear nothing the pastor said, the minister, whatever, said, because I was so frustrated. Like, I literally didn't hear nothing. I think the only thing I heard was nothing. Like, I ain't hear nothing. Like, that's how frustrated and how far gone I was mentally about the situation. And man, we sat down, you know, he would just, you know, he asked me before I said, how you doing, Leroy? And I was just like, I'm all right, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm making it. And just like that, and he like, before I said that, he like, Leroy, talk to me, man. How everything going? I'm like, you know, well, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pay the rent. We struggling. We ain't got nothing to eat. Just going through it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't feel comfortable eating the breakfast that morning because it was just like, you know, they ain't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we struggling. And man, he came through because he said that God told him to give me this money. And I mean, it was more than enough. You know what I'm saying? Then he gave us a card from Walmart with more than enough to get groceries, like $250, $300. At that time, like I said, it's a couple years ago. So, I mean, that was more than enough. You know what I'm saying? And at that moment, I realized how in control God was. Now, I seen God move before in my life, but that was just mind blowing because I ain't had no track record on this. I ain't have no thought in my mind, or you know, nothing that in the process to show me like, okay, somebody gonna come through for you. God gonna point, like, man. I mean, I was scared to death because I felt like God told me to move here. I believe God wanted me to move here, but it was just like, man, bro, how we gonna get through this? Like, I mean, it was unfamiliar. Sorry, y'all, them bugs in my face, but it was very unfamiliar. It was very, um, it was hard. It was very hard, man. But we got through it, and that's when I realized. And I say this a lot. I said it then. Like I said, it is what it gonna be. Like, when I find myself feeling stressed, or like I want to give up, or things just feel like it's too hard, or I feel pressure, I just say to myself, it is what it gonna be. God gonna provide, God gonna come through like he always do. And if he don't, that means that I guess it wasn't meant to be. And he's still gonna work it out. You know what I'm saying? It may not be when I want it, but it's gonna be what? On time. So You know, that's what I mean by, like, you know, not allowing your emotions to get the best of you. Because I surely could have, and I could have crashed out. I could have tried to do all type of foolishness, but I didn't. You know, hard as it was. But from that moment on, I just knew. I just knew, because different events happened after that, and I felt like my faith was being tested. But you know, I stayed the course. You know what I'm saying? I stayed the course. I had got a peace and a understanding that I never had. You know what I'm saying? I had got this flow of, like, just not giving up, just knowing that even though you can't see it, God gonna work it out. You know, and that came with time. But you know, now it's just like, okay, like I say, I'm still human. I go through things, but I trust God. So you know, I just wanted to make this video to share with y'all that don't focus on the thing that you can't control. Focus on what you can control, and know that God gonna work everything else out for your good. It's gonna be all right, man. Let's go.